can't believe I'm regretting not watching more isekai anime. How the heck do I get back to the real world? Oh.
You know the day destroys the night, night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide, break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side, yeah. We chased our pleasures here, dug our treasures there, but can you still recall the time we cried? Break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side. She get high, she get high, she get high, yeah. I found an island in your arms, country in your eyes, arms are changes, eyes are line. Break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side, break on through, oh! Oh, yeah! Made to see, week to week, day to day, hour to hour, day straight, deep and wide, bring on through to the other side.
Oh, yeah, baby! It's all on, like Donkey Kong, as they say. Welcome to the Monkey Politics and Shit Throwing Show, episode 2, right here from Whangarei, New Zealand, to the entire world, from the bottom of the world to the top of the world. That's how we do it. Now, wherever you are, welcome to the show. Hopefully what we're doing here is something that interests you and excites you, and it's something that, you know, gets you to watch us. Either way, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Let me introduce to you my co-host, Tim Olson. Whose mic is off, by the way?
Whose mic is now on?
But it's kind of like still... Wait, hold on.
Hey, I have something extra good for you.
There we go.
So, how's it going, Tim?
Man, are you some kind of asshole, man? Don't you know that Angela is streaming right now?
Wait, what?
You heard me. You're streaming over Angela. What the hell?
Angela who? Angela who?
The only one that's... Oh, don't play dumb with me. You know, the only one that streams sumo wrestling matches.
Wait,
that Angela?
You mean this Angela?
Yes. Oh my God, I can't believe you didn't know that.
Wait. She's actually streaming now? I thought she was streaming half an hour ago, dude. Like,
what?
We planned this so that she could do her half an hour welcoming bit and everything, and then we'll jump in and, you know, watch her do a show for a bit, and then we'll go back out.
Oh, well, now I'm the asshole?
Well, there's somebody with their backside on the screen, and it's a dude, like a big fat dude.
I thought that was EVS.
Who's EVS?
You know, that fat fuck.
Oh, the person we're going to talk about today. I thought of him as Evan, so EVS is kind of like...
Oh.
All right. So how about, let's get on with the show, right? I mean, you know, we can't do anything about Angela. And I don't really want to see the backsides of big, bulky men, right? Because that just seems kind of weird for me as a man to be looking at, you know. But so let's get on with what's happening.
You uncultured fuck.
I don't know how to respond to that. Yeah, you're stuck as well. So let me do this. Okay. So today, our great leader, the king of the world, Trump, basically went into Iran and took the coalition with him. And so one of the people that I watch, you know, about world news is Maya Tusi. He covers a lot of stuff, and the good thing about, well, not the good thing, the thing about Maya, he's actually Iranian, living in Britain, and he's a Westerner, not a Muslim, right? So, but his dad is over there right now. His dad's been living in Iran, and he's been, you know, for a long time. Maya's been living in UK. So now we actually have a coalition. Why do I say collision? Coalition of US, UK, Israel, United Arab Emirates, and Jordan going to war with Iran. So let's check this out.
We're going to give you guys all the updates. There's a lot to cover in terms of the military movements in the region. Before we begin, if you would like to support the channel and our small team of brilliant people here, then the best thing you can do is get something out of it. Become a member of 2C TV Plus today for only £1 on a 7-day trial to get full access to our streaming service.
All right.
The British Embassy in...
Let's get over to there. You guys can check out his channel.
It's 1,380,000. So
wait. So going to war costs millions of dollars. Like seriously, a lot of people are going, "Oh, why don't you just go over there, bro?" Right?
Which is interesting, as expected, but it's moving very quickly. So the Islamic Republic are now evacuating their diplomats from a number of countries, including Denmark and the United Kingdom. Also, I realized the number of subscribers needs to be updated because it's not 1,378,000. It's 1,380,000. So brilliant. Now let's quickly go to the situation in London. The British Embassy in Tehran is already closed. They've now left. The diplomats, the Iranian regime have also decided to close the embassy. They are evacuating their staff. There is a situation in central London today. There is, I think it might have.
It seems that they don't have very many allies going with them. My country's army.
Well, the thing here is that, like, a lot of people are wussy now because they've imported a lot of terrorists into their country, right? So because they've imported a lot of people into their country from the Middle East, and they don't even know who's a terrorist and who isn't, now they're finding out that if they go against Iran or Muslim countries who are actually terrorists, like they don't want to even support Israel and Westerners who are trying to stop terrorism in other countries. So because of that, these guys are basically afraid, right? And I'm going to show you something later about Australia, where they've actually stopped talking about, actually made a law about free speech, which protects Muslims. So you can't actually call somebody a terrorist who's a terrorist in Australia, who's a Muslim terrorist or Islamist terrorist, right? And so because of that, it kind of like just everybody's kind of like bent over the table because of Europe. Like, look at, there's nobody in from Europe, no France, right? No Germany, because they've already got too many Middle Eastern imports there, and they can't trust who they because of mass immigration, who they actually allowed in their country. Like, it's like you're having like spies for terrorists in your country who might actually be terrorists themselves, right? Or also homegrown terrorists. We'll be looking at ginger Muslims soon, so it comes into line there.
just finished a march in Westminster. I was supposed to be there. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it because of all the issues that I've been dealing with. But over the last few...
Oh, by the way, this guy has had a fatwa put on him, which means the terrorist Muslim Brotherhood, right, around the world are looking to kill him. And that's coming from Iran, which is why I call Iran a terrorist state.
Days we've had escalation.
Didn't Australia just have a bunch of Muslim terrorists try to shoot at them in public?
It was a father and son. Sorry,
and they won't step in and do something about terrorists in their country and around the world.
Well, they want to, but you can't talk about Muslims that way, though, right? Because hey, they might start up another one. So there's a sphere, and so right now, tomorrow, right, it's Australia Day, which is like a national day of celebration. Like you guys have 4th of July, right? That's your Independence Day type thing. So Australia has it tomorrow, and we have it on on the 6th, which is next month, on the 6th of February. That's our day.
And tensions in London. In case you don't know, the IRGC headquarters outside of the country is based in London, in Maidavale. It's called the Islamic...
Dude, did you just hear what the dude said? The actual headquarters of a terrorist state is actually in London. This is why the UK was taking so long to support Trump and support support Israel. This is why we have problems in Europe and across the world, because one of the biggest country in Europe, which is UK, right, is friggin' houses a terrorist country there. And that's why UN is also the friggin' backing the terrorist country of Iran, right? The leaders of Iran.
Center of England, and the Islamic Republic have put their people just outside to protect the building. The police are also there. Over the last few days, we've had a lot of tensions.
I just want to point out that if they have a problem there, such as a terrorist organization in their midst, you would think they should do something about that.
Well, Iranians actually were protesting against that friggin' place, that embassy, just this past week, and against Islamic Muslim temples, right, mosques, and this is Iranian people, right, who immigrated to UK and said, "Yo, this mosque here is actually radicalizing local people to become terrorists," and this is Iranian people saying that about a mosque in UK, bro.
There's a video of this guy, the anti-regime Iranian, who confronted the IRGC outside the IRGC headquarters in London. Let's quickly go there. And then we're going to talk to you about what's going on the ground.
So he goes, I will, hold on. He goes, I will, he goes, death to Saeed Ali. I think he's a new leader. I will shit on Khomeini's grave. Death to Khomeini, who's the supreme leader of Iran, the Muslim terrorist friggin' person who organizes, who pays for attacks on Israel using Palestinians, who puts out hits on people around the world using his Muslim Brotherhood. Like anything that happens around the world in a big way with terrorism and Muslim terrorism, and there's every freaking month, is paid for by Iran. He goes, I will shit on Khomeini's grave. Yes. He goes, fuck your mother to these. This is the UK. This is in the UK. Is an Iranian person saying to the embassy leaders in UK, right?
You can see that.
Who are basically the ones that were killing his people. So we're going to be looking at like the 20,000 deaths, reported deaths, by the way, so far that have been slaughtered by the Iranian IRGC. And that's just reported. And they're talking about mass graves, chemical uses, foreign mercenaries being used on them.
Tensions. The death to Khomeini, and of course, I will S on Khomeini's grave. Yes.
Yeah. So the police is going, drive away now. You know, this is the UK police because they're afraid it's going to pop off. And this is what happens when you invite mass immigration of people from the Middle East without knowing who they are. And it's just crazy, bro.
If that was in the United States, they would be investigating that. Just saying.
Yeah, bro, but under Biden, you've had like, and of course under Obama, you've had hundreds of thousands of people get in there, bro. Legally, right? Legally and over the border. I mean, through the, you know, under the border, whatever you want to call it, illegally.
They, you know, it's funny that the left go on about like detaining and deporting illegal immigrants. Obama, at least Obama did that 10 times more than Trump ever did. They just don't want to talk about it.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. Like he's done it. Like, dude, Obama was called the drone bomber, right? The drone, like he drone people all over the world, and he's known for killing innocent Americans, civilians overseas. And so, but because he's on the left, right? This is what I don't like about the left is that they'll protect their people no matter, I mean, their side, no matter what evil they do, but then they'll hold the right, you know, conservatives accountable for every single thing.
So that's still escalating. In terms of what is happening on the ground, now let's talk about the military buildup. First things first, let's talk about the IRGC themselves. The Islamic Republic have now issued a retaliation warning again against the Americans, saying that we will strike the US fleet whenever we choose. That includes the USS Abraham Lincoln. They have been circulating this footage. This is by Press TV, which is the Islamic Republic TV abroad. The essentially close-range UAV footage of the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, which is now operating near the Persian Gulf in the Middle East. It's obviously now arrived after a couple of weeks of journey. So they are basically taunting the Americans, saying, we can do precise surgical strikes on your fleet, which again, I've been saying over the last few days, will be the most stupid thing that the Islamic Republic could do if they even try to target the USS Abraham Lincoln. Obviously, it will be protected anyway, but it is a very bad idea to provoke the Americans even further at this point.
Not only would that be a bad idea, but there's the word is Trident. The two words, Trident sub. The American fleet could easily just wipe them off the map like they never existed.
Sure. And you know what? The other thing was that they don't realize what happened in Venezuela, right? Venezuela basically was like a forerunner to what the US would do in Iran. It was like a test, right? It's like, hey, we can go in there and we can take out your people without even getting harmed ourselves. So there was like, they took out the entire army, which was backed by Russia, like technology from Russia and China. right? This is the same technology that Iran uses, right, with what they, from China and Russia for their defense. So these guys have nothing on the US. However, if they're going to be a mad dog and start attacking, and this is why it's taken so long for the UAE, United Arab Emirates, and Jordan to get behind supporting America, the alliance to go into and take out the leaders of Iran, and because they're afraid that these mad dogs, because look, dude, man, we've seen enough Muslims do mad dog stuff, right? They're like a chicken without a head on. They're just crazy. So that's why they've been waiting for everybody to get behind America and Trump to get in there. And so this is it, right? You got they've basically already killed 20,000 civilians, dude, right? So with having and that's only what's been reported. I mean, that's crazy. What isn't reported is all the other people that are still in jail, that have been wounded, that have been rounded up, imprisoned and taken off their families, hunted down, and everything else that, goes along with a terrorist state.
The waters of the Persian Gulf are now boiling like a witch's cauldron. On the morning of January 24th, 2026, we are witnessing the largest military buildup in history. Dozens of warships.
Oh yeah, this is 2 days ago, right? Now they're already there.
Hundreds of jets and stealth bombers are on high alert. Pahlavi's call for air support was answered in Washington.
They do need, however, air cover when they are totally unarmed vis-a-vis a very brutal regime.
Trump's response was swift. We're sending a huge armada there.
We have an armada. We have a massive fleet heading in that direction.
Trump's armada is no longer a threat, but an operational reality. As Khamenei cancelled his Friday sermon and retreated to his bunker, the skies over Tehran shook with the hum of drones. International airlines withdrew from the region, leaving the skies only to fighter jets and Tomahawk missiles. The countdown is over. The Middle East is about to be shaken up.
So 2 days ago, right, they basically removed all the plane flights over that area, just to make sure that these crazy nutheads of the Muslims wouldn't be shooting down actual planes with passengers in them going across to Saudi Arabia, going to Israel, or coming across from Saudi Arabia to Denmark or to Europe. And so they just went, okay, 2 days warning, all the planes are cancelled, nobody's traveling that way. And why would anybody want to travel the last month or so over to, across that friggin' area anyway? But it's good to see that, we're ready now. The thing is that I've been waiting for this, but I knew that when Trump decides this is the time, he would have all his, chips in order, right? Or ducks in order, as we say. So now is the time, and boom, he's in there. It's the 26th New Zealand time, 25th, Northern time, America time. But I'm just so glad that we finally got here because, people have been crying, dude, for America to get involved from Iran, right? While people in America, leftists in America and around the world, have said nothing, right? And they basically didn't even side with the people of Iran who are fighting for their lives because, we can't have America going in there. We can't have Israel helping these people because America and Israel are the bad guys, right?
Well, they like to cherry pick, what kind of things they actually give a shit about. It's kind of like a fad. They're for about a cause until something else pops up, and then they forget all about that cause because it's not part of the algorithm or trend or something. Mm. And Iran, fuck around and find out.
That's basically what's going to come down to, right? I mean, it's at that point now. So I want to show you this little clip from. It's an Indian person talking about about Khomeini. Like, this is the guy this is the leader of America, of Iran, right? Of the terrorist state. What did I press? Okay, here we are. So let me get this. And she's talking about like the green book of this dude, right? I've heard some horrendous stuff, bro, like that this guy has said, but this is just a bit of it. Oh yeah, just a warning, the accent might be a bit thick.
Iran regime built a whole ecosystem of this enforcement of the hijab. They have something called the mutawayin. It's the morality police. It comprises of both men and women. So these women in black chadar, you can see in the videos, they go around all the cities of all the towns of Iran. And if they see even a strand of hair or an ankle or a finger or something visible, they will immediately go with these buttons that they have, black buttons. If somebody used to protest or show their dissent, they would be immediately bundled off, arrested to the notorious Evin prison. Evin prison is where some of the most horrific stories have come out from by the Iranian women survivors, that the guards there believe, the revolutionary guards, the IRGC, which is the Iran, they on a very unruly prisoner, a woman who would refuse to conform, they were actually instructed that they needed to assault the woman so that when she is executed, she will go to heaven, because you cannot send a virgin to heaven. Ye instructions kahan se aate hain? This is the Ayatollah Khomeini. Khomeini is Greek.
Do you know what she means when she says they assault the woman so because she can't go to heaven if she's a virgin? It means they rape her. Right? That these guys, the rule of Iran, these morality police, and this is what the people of Iran are fighting against, man. Right? They're fighting against that. And I'm going to show you a little clip in a moment about that. But they are the most horrible people on earth, man. It's just, I don't know how the leftists in the West, in their arrogance and cowardness, would not support these females over in Iran, man. And the children, right?
Oh, it's simple. It's about woke points. It's not about the actual cause. They don't really care about the cause. It's just like a fad or a thing to do. They don't actually believe in what they're saying. That's just my opinion.
All right, let's play this a bit more. Oh, Karen, sorry.
Because look at that Greta Thunberg. She was all about the environment until she wasn't.
True. Yeah, like she was basically all about Palestine until that became the next fad, right? You're right. You're right. 100% right, bro.
Green book is very infamous. He wrote it, in which he justified rape. In fact, he even justified the sexual assault or sexual use of an infant. There are clear instructions how to go about it. So it's
like I said, man, earlier when we played this, these are the most disgusting human beings on earth, these Muslims, these Islamists, that they have instructions. This dude, the dude they follow, the supreme leader, right, the Khomeini of Iran, has instructions on how to sexually assault children. We go back there, just so we know.
Ye instructions kahan se aate hain? This is the Ayatollah Khomeini.
He goes, she said, these instructions, where do they come from?
Khomeini's green book is very infamous. He wrote it, in which he justified rape. In fact, he even justified the sexual assault or sexual use of an infant. There are clear instructions how to go about it. So it's a very infamous green book of Khomeini, and that is where the whole ecosystem, the whole culture of this enforcement of hijab comes.
Man, this is why I get so pissed off when Westerners turn to start following, you know, Islam.
Oh, did you see that? Let me hit one again. Oh. Well, it's because they're given a watered down version, which they think is the correct version. So they don't actually know the actual religion. That's my theory.
But they don't even go out of their way to learn about the real thing. When there's so many people like online and instructions and debates and talking about the actual English versions of these things, right? The scriptures. That's why, like, when I can actually go and read, you know, anybody in the world can read the Bible in their own language. It's like the most translated book in the world, every single language, right? And if they find one that isn't being translated in their language, they'll do it. And that's because that everybody can read it and understand it for themselves without having to go to some leader, without having to go to some church or whatever and have their interpretations of it, right? So, but Westerners, they just, like you said, get a watered down version that they've never even heard of, they don't understand, and here they are basically jumping on board to this religion, which seems like, on one hand, they can see this religion killing people for their lack of belief in their way, right, all around the world, and they see black people being slaughtered in Sudan, in Nigeria, in the thousands, right, totally genocided, but because they're anything but Muslims, so we got to kill all the Christians, we got to kill all the tribal indigenous religions, all the animism, because there's the most native indigenous people don't have Christianity or any other religion, mainstream religion as their core beliefs. They have animism, which is where they worship the forest, animals of the forest and so on, which is most primitive, the history of most indigenous cultures have. But anything like that, they're on the, they get executed.
All right. There was a time when the Bible was not allowed to be translated because it was considered heresy. It had to stay in the Greek and Hebrew and Latin. But that was the Catholic Church. And there was actually Martin Luther and a bunch of others.
Mm.
That was they believed that people should be taught how to read. It should be translated in their language so they can read the Bible and take make their own decisions. They couldn't get Martin Luther because he would hide out in other not so Pope friendly places. But they did. I think they did execute. They burned one of his close associates at the stake, and then used his own translations to mock him. So there was a time, but that was like a long time ago. Now you have thousands of translations. In the process of translating the book in a language that people can understand is like the meaning has to be close to the original meaning as possible.
Yeah, I mean that's the Reformation, right? So Islam hasn't had any of that. So what Islam basically did was take all the fantasy things that they could think of, chucking in a bit of Christianity, chucking a bit of idol worship, chucking a bit of Zoroastrian, Buddhism, Judaism, all into it, and then make up their own little bits. Did you know that there are like ways to wipe your ass with stones in Islam? It's part of the thing. If you're traveling out there in the desert, and you need to go and wipe your butt, you don't use water or your hands, right, to wipe your butt. You use a rock, right? So this is what like really thinks me out. So, and I've got a clip where people are saying that Muslim leaders in their mosque are teaching that to use toilet paper to wash your butt, that's haram, which means that's sinful to actually wipe your butt with toilet paper. These guys are like still in the 14th century, bro. Like their brain hasn't moved into the new, into modern age. Yet this is where these Westerners have no clue and they just jump on. Let me play this video here, right? And then we'll go on to talk a bit more about the gingers, right, who are turning to Islam.
Mahsa Amini, a young Iranian woman, was on September 13th pulled off the street, thrown into a van, and taken to a re-education center by the Islamic Republic's so-called morality police to teach her lessons in morality, as she allegedly wasn't wearing a hijab or headscarf. 3 days later, she was dead. Reports suggest she suffered multiple blows to the head. The 22-year-old's death triggered massive protests across the country, resulting in several deaths, including that of a 16-year-old boy who was shot dead when security forces opened fire on demonstrators. In an act of defiance, Iranian women who found themselves on the receiving end of the wrath of the morality police are protesting by cutting their hair in public and burning their hijabs. But who are Iran's morality police? And what is the re-education they've been offering women? The morality police are a law enforcement agency with access to arms, power, and re-education centers. These centers play the role of detention facilities where not only women but also men are sometimes taken into custody if they fail to comply with the state's modesty rules. Different types of morality police have flourished in Iran since the 1979 revolution. The first organized morality police in post-revolution Iran was a paramilitary volunteer militia called Basij, which was forced to encourage volunteers to participate in the Iran-Iraq war. The morality police, locally known as Gasht-e-Irshad, usually work by patrolling the streets in a van, which has in it male and chadar-clad or full-body veil-wearing female crew. They stand and observe people in busy streets. They then detain people, especially women, for dress code violations.
See that? The dude just used the butt of a assault rifle on the head of a woman, and these are the people and this is why I get so pissed off about Westerns, right? This is the women who are fighting for their rights, and why these protests have been going on for what, like 28, 29 days, almost 30 days, bro. And people, and tens of thousands of people have died fighting for their right to get rid of these assholes here, right? Who are assaulting them, you know, in the open, and they're allowed to. This is the problem. And so when, like in the West, in America right now, people are going, we don't want the illegals out of the country, except those illegals are raping, murdering, killing, assaulting, gunning down, sexually trafficking, you know, involved in sexual traffic, and even not even just sexual traffic, actual human traffic for work. I watched the video on a news report on the house that had like about something like a dozen Asians from China and from Asia being trafficked as workers without pay, working six days a week from dusk till dawn in restaurants and restaurant chains across America. So then to have people say, well, these people still, you know, leftists these people deserve to live in our country, even though they're illegal, even though they're committing crimes, and we have to fight against ICE, we have to gun down ICE officers or police officers trying to stop these people and throw them out of the country. I get so angry, bro. Sometimes I just have to turn off the damn, news because of that.
Then detain people, especially women, for dress code violations like not wearing a hijab in a manner they perceive proper. The definition of what is proper and what's not is usually left at the discretion of the patrolling police. They detain women over anything, ranging from too short a hijab to too much makeup. Once arrested, the women are taken to re-education or detention facilities where lessons are taught on Islam and the importance of hijab. On completion of the course and before their release, the detainees are asked to sign a pledge which clearly states that going forward, they will abide by the state's clothing regulations. Although these re-education centers are a recent phenomenon, introduced only in 2019, Iran had been dictating to women how they should or shouldn't dress up for a long time now. And Amini's death has renewed the debate around Iran's idea of discipline and morality that unfairly weigh down women.
So this was, let me get rid of that. Wait, where'd I go? Damn it, another one opened up. Sorry. Right. So this was 3 years ago, right? And now we have people basically out there for around a month now, since last December, fighting for their rights to stop being re-educated, stop being beaten, stop being tortured, stop being imprisoned, being taken away from their children. And I'm talking about like teenagers, bro. Teenage girls. Which brings me to, let me just do a quick segue. So last year when I was like looking at this, and I like on the Monkey channel, because there's another channel that I have which I talk about just politics and stuff, but here we're doing kind of like crossing over with that. Last year I worked on a project. I mean, we've been working on a project for about a year or so called Zulandia, and when I heard that story about this girl and about the news report, I was like, I gotta immortalize this girl so that people won't forget, right? Because people tend to forget shit because of the news cycle we live in, right? What happened today is like in 24 hours, it's gone, bro. So, yeah.
I just want to make this quick point about what you're saying before. The kind of thing that they use religion as politics almost kind of states a case for the separation of state and religion. Because when you have a religious group making political decisions, then you have stuff like this happening.
Yeah, well, in this case, I mean, it's see, the thing about Iran is that the UK, France, and the CIA in Carter's time helped bring these commies to work, right? Into place. So the communists were fighting the royal family, the king, right, the Shah of Iran back 47 years ago. And they were like, oh, we need socialism, we need this. And so instead of like the Shah going, I'm going to put out my military to stop these commies, right, and actually end up hurting our own people, I'm just going to step down. So when he did that, UK and France actually brought in this Arab mullah, right? So they installed this guy, Ali Khamenei, and this Khomeini is the one in charge now, as a leader there. And a lot of people don't even understand that America was involved in that, putting these people into tyranny, right? With the France, with the UK, back in 1979. And so a lot of the suffering that has happened in there is because of the West, right? Because the West didn't want Iran to become powerful. And Iran wasn't trying to like run the country, the world. They were just like, hey, we just want to be like everybody else, just like the West. But these guys, man, I'm telling you, it's like, this is why sometimes, I think that, dude, it just upsets me that a lot of people are just so dumb, right? So what I'm going to play this little clip here. Hopefully it works, because I should have put it up on screen, but let me see if I can open it with Google, maybe. No, I'll open it with my media player. This is Nika Shakarami. Let me just pause. Let me see. Hopefully, let me see if I can get this right. This is going to be a bit of effort on my part, because I haven't done this for a while. Windows, Nika, right? So let me see. Let me know if you can hear the volume on this. So this girl here, Nika, right? She's just like, she reminded me of me, dude. Like as a kid, like as a 15-year-old, dressed in black, listening to metal music, punk rock, right? And just doing my thing, skateboarding around, and this is her just having her fun, right? Got her music out, just dancing on the side of the road. Like, now, let me I'm just going to mute myself. Let me know if you can hear me.
No, I can't hear anything.
Oh, okay. Let me try something here with the volume and stuff. Thank you for that. Audio, yeah, it's not what I'm going to, but like, dang it. Okay. What the hell? Okay, let's see if we can work this. Why did my mic switch over to the other mic? Again. All right, so I'll just play this without any, without me talking anything, but I'll give you a narrative of what's going on. So Nika here, like she's about 16, 14, I think. And so she's just doing a kind of like a concert to her friends. So she's basically singing just a fun song, having fun. 14-year-old kid, man, in Iran. This was last year, all right? And you know what happened? They took her off the street and they murdered her, right? And 16-year-old. So I've got notes here. So Nika Shakarami, a 16-year-old Iranian girl who went missing in protests, found dead 10 days later at a detention center, and then the Islamic regime stole her dead body and buried her secretly in a village. So her parents don't even know where she is. They've never found her body, dude. Imagine that, your child, 16 years old, just being a kid, but just being a child, man, listening to music, talking, dressed this Western way. And here, they basically took her and murdered her, bro.
Was that the reason why they murdered her?
Yeah. Yeah. For that. The fact it was like recorded and it was like put out there because of that. And this is why like last year I basically I did a whole deep dive into Islam and into actual stuff in Iran. Because of that, I was like, well, what the hell's going on with this? Why are they killing kids? I mean, kids might, because I have a background in youth work, right? Back about 20 odd years ago, and because I've been a teenager as well, right? And because I love this, metal music and being a punk and all that, I dress like that any given day. I've got a black T-shirt, and so on, and I just feel like that could have been me, bro, if I was born under that, and it just So the reason I played that is because of that. Also, I had my artist draw up Nika and put it into a comic book that we're releasing later this year to immortalize her, so that people won't forget this young kid, that she has value, right? That her life mattered. What I want to do quickly is I'm going to find this little clip where before we move on, right? So there was this there was a little where are you? Hold on, it might take me a bit. Let me play this ginger video, and then we'll this ginger lady who just converted to Islam, right? Again, Westerner, right? And what she wants Islam to change. Oh no, that's a different one. Let me get to the shorter version. Where no, that's not it either. Hold on. Where is this? Is this the one? Oh yeah, here we go. This is the one. Finally got it. Apologies for that.
Homophobic, not only are you if you are a Muslim who
Okay. All right, here we go.
is transphobic and homophobic, not only are you contributing to the mass killing of LGBTQ people, you are also contributing to the Muslim genocide by giving ammunition to Zionists and other Islamophobes, violently killing Muslims around the world, and allowing them to pinkwash our genocide by saying, hey, look, all Muslims are bad people because look what they would do to you in Gaza. Look what they would do to you in Muslim countries. And y'all could argue until your faces are blue in the comments about if it's haram or not. I literally don't care. You are meant to love people, respect, and show kindness to people. If your version of religion has to do with being a bigot that gets people killed, not hurting anyone, just being who they are, I don't want any part of it. And keep in mind that in the Quran 2 times it says, to me my religion and to you yours, and there is no compulsion in Islam. It's literally haram for you to impose your religion and your beliefs on other people. No one's asking you to be trans. At the same time, you are also pushing away people who are trans, who are gay, from becoming Muslim. Whether you like it or not, there are LGBTQ Muslims who are part of our ummah. They are just as Muslim as you are. And at the end of the day, subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah. Allah is greatest, Allah knows best, and you need to humble yourself. If you are a Muslim who is transphobic and homophobic, not only are you contributing to the mass.
I wanted to play that through. Yeah, I just wanted to play that through so you got the whole gist of what this crazy Western white woman is telling Muslims who've lived their whole life being hateful towards the gay community that they can't be gay anymore, right? So go for it.
Okay. So, has she ever been to a Muslim country?
Probably not, bro.
I think it should be like a law or something that people like this should be forced to go stay in a Muslim country for like 3 weeks, so they know exactly what they're talking about.
The stuff I've heard about what they do to white women who marry into Muslim families is horrendous, bro.
Yeah. Well, then I guess she picked the wrong religion, didn't she?
But she's the one who thinks that they're the bad people if they don't like, if they don't like LGBT people, if they don't like trans people, right? Or gay people. But she's the one who's trying to tell these people who are hateful and bigoted and misogynist for centuries that they're not allowed to be hateful, bigoted, and misogynist for anymore.
Okay, I'm confused. Is she pro-Islam or anti-Islam?
She is all for Islam, but she wants it her way. She wants the Western version of Islam, which doesn't exist, by the way. There's no such a thing as a Western version of Islam.
Oh, okay. She's an idiot then.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. All these Western women are like totally idiots. They're leftists turning over to Islam, thinking that we'll bring our Western ideology, right, modern thinking, progressiveness to Islam, which is a misogynist religion, which is patriarchal based, which has for centuries invaded and assaulted other countries, right? And so, yeah, I don't know how she thinks she can be the wonder bread of all breads of Islam, right? And that she's going to change everything around it. So I've got this other video where we're going to look at a bunch of other gingers who have decided that they want to be, turned to Islam. And there's a bit of them.
Yeah. Second, before you start, I want to announce that Seattle just beat the Los Angeles Rams 31-27, and they will be going to the Super Bowl. Thank you.
Well, I guess they're lucky, right? They get to be part of the. Have they ever been to the Super Bowl before?
Quite a few times.
Okay.
They've only won one.
Right. It's like New Zealand with NRL. It's like we've only been to the national, team, whatever, over in the over in Aussie, but
Ginger.
but we've like tried so hard. We've been part of that for about over 30 years now. So this video here is from Cyber Dingo. I think he's an Australian dude. He's talking about how so many gingers are becoming Westerners, right? Are becoming Muslims. And it's just creepy as weird, dude. Yeah.
Ginger, another ginger. I don't know if you've noticed, but there has been a rather interesting phenomenon happening with white converts to Islam. An observable one, and let's be honest, rather bizarre one, especially in the UK. At this point, it genuinely looks like the entire Weasley family is converting to Islam. Okay, not literally, but for such a rare group to begin with, gingers seem wildly overrepresented among white converts. So the question is, why? Before anyone panics, no, the conclusion isn't that Islam is astrology for gingers, although that would have been pretty funny. There actually is a reason people keep noticing this pattern, and it didn't start on social media. Long before that, this exact observation was being argued about online and in print. About a decade ago, a controversial analysis started circulating. It wasn't a peer-reviewed study, and it wasn't a government census. It was something much more British, if you could say that. Someone went digging through newspaper archives. The author looked at a one-year period of UK media coverage. The Daily Mail, the Mirror.
He goes, reading here, he goes, these are extraordinary numbers when you consider that in Northern and Western Europe, the average incidence of red hair in the general population is 5%. In other words, Islamic extremists reported on by the media are 15 times more likely than the general population to have red hair. But it's only 5% of redhead, but 15% more likely to become Muslim, which is weird.
The Telegraph, even The Guardian, focusing specifically on white British converts to radical Islam who appeared in the news. So things like court cases, terrorism charges, all of it really. And what they found was odd. Depending on how generously you categorized hair color, somewhere between 69 and 76% of these reported white converts were redheads. You did not mishear me. Yes, over 70% on average. Redheads make up about 5 to 7% of the UK population. Yet in this very specific, very visible group, they suddenly seem to be everywhere. Now yes, this is unorthodox data. It measures media visibility, not the true number of converts. Although overall, white converts to Islam are pretty low, despite what apologists might have you believe. But that's the entire point. This is the exact group people are reacting to. This is where the ginger Muslim convert meme comes from. I guess the point here is this isn't something you imagine.
Yeah, he did, Timothy. Sorry, Lesmet. He did apologize, and he bowed. He groveled on the floor, and seriously, you know, he was like, I am so sorry, Master. I'm so sorry, King, My Highness, my loyal, you know. He was being very, 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 he was very servile.
Yeah, I pleaded for my life. I was like, please don't kill me, please.
Yeah, he didn't want me to do the whole, you know, Queen of Hearts, off with his head. However, Lesmet, come on soon to talk about Comicsgate. We're just about to finish off here, just doing this whole redhead thing, and then we'll cross over to Comicsgate. Well, come on, man. You can come online and talk about, you know, come on the stream and talk to him yourself. I don't want to get too much in between you guys, because, you know, it is what it is. Lesmet, but like, you know, I'll give you the stage for a couple of minutes to just berate, bully, and do whatever you want to my co-host, right? And I don't mean physically, because, dude, we're not into that sort of stuff. But I will let you verbally say whatever you want. Here's a link, by the way, if you didn't get the link already, or if you didn't see the link already. But in about, I'd say about 5 or 6 minutes, we're going to move over to Comicsgate, because I don't know that much about that crowd, but, you know, but I will, you know, I would like to, you know, do a bit of because there's, you know, I don't think a lot of people know about what's happening with Comicsgate, who they are on this channel, right? And it's like me, I spent a year and a half learning about Comicsgate before I actually decided to understand what it was and why I should not like them.
Okay. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, oh God, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, you really don't. I mean, the less you know about the people in Comicsgate, probably nowadays, the better.
Mm.
Yeah,
That is
that's. I wish I didn't know half of what I know now.
Yeah.
Although there's some stuff that's useful, but all the drama and noise, I wish I didn't know.
Well, you know what? Since you're talking about that now, how about we move up? We'll come back to this dude in a second with why are so many gingers converting to Islam in a minute. So let me grab. Let me get that the clip I wanted to grab, which is actually, hey, before we go there, let me just talk about Lakari. For those the other day we did a we talked about a streamer who cooked himself on his live stream with CP, right? Not actual showing it, but actually opening up a list that showed that led to CP and some weird stuff, right? And with underage listing. So you can see that that's the last stream we did, which is MPST episode 1. But I'm gonna play. Let's go to. I just want to play this a little bit before we go on to CG. If I can find it, get it up here, open up, and go full stream. Am I fast enough? I am, but will it open up?
Cell phones, cameras, keys, all metal objects must be placed in a tray. Sir, what is this?
Nitroglycerin, what do you think? Cologne. Smell it, you don't believe me.
Proceed.
You think Bin Laden was getting married in there? You realize they made John pay for...
Dude's big, right? Remind you of someone, Tim?
Yeah. I think what's his name? Evan tries to emulate him.
Yeah, he's been trying to be, I'm the mafia boss. I'm Tony Soprano, right?
There was a video where an actual ex-mafioso was a mafia guy was watching these videos of different types of mobsters. The fact that Tony Soprano tells everything to a therapist, he said that him and that therapist would be dead by the end of the week in a trunk. If that was a real thing. Because the idea is that mafia guys don't talk.
Because he's snitching, right? Every week he's snitching.
Well, yeah, every week he's kind of telling someone some secrets that he shouldn't be telling them. So I think the idea is that since any information is getting out, they're going to make sure you're a loose end, therefore you're dealt with.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, they would basically follow him around to figure out who's he's talking to, why is he going to this place, then basically kidnap that chick, right, his therapist, and go, tell us. So yeah, it is a very fantasy-based series. I think I watched the first 2-3 seasons, and I was out. Didn't really gel with me after that.
All this heightened security out of his own pocket.
Are you kidding? The government did that? Are you okay?
Yeah, it's hot.
We're almost there.
All metal objects in the tray, sir.
Jesus Christ.
Arms outstretched, please. All right, we'll need to step out and remove your shoes, sir.
Oh, come on.
Sorry.
Tony? Daddy? AJ, get him a chair.
You got him. Come on.
everybody's kind of like thinking that this is what's going to happen with EVS because he just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And he sits on his, hey, what was that thing, like talking about sitting? What was that thing about him breaking some chair?
Yeah, he broke a chair apparently. He broke all 4 legs or something because he's so fat.
What was that on?
I don't know. I just I heard about it. I never saw it because I actually, I never really watched any of his shows. But
wait, I think it's from like Timcast or something like that. He was invited to talk about Comicsgate and stuff, or comics, and there was
probably.
a steel chair, right?
A steel chair?
Yeah, I think it was a steel chair. Yeah. Well, like, of course, he is trying to emulate Tony Soprano, so I guess that's the thing.
Should have worn the loafers.
It ain't your fault, T. It's all this bullshit.
It's a steam bath.
I'll get a damn paper towel.
Sorry. Here, Tone, some water.
He just got out of the hospital. Are the shoes really necessary?
Sorry, miss. Oh, let me do it. Don't bet. All right.
This face, that face, this is basically EVS, Ethan Van Sciver, ex-comics book, mainstream comics, self-imposed, telling everybody he was canceled, but he's not canceled, liar, looking at the world, and especially looking at Eric July, bro. I think this is the look he gives Eric July, because Eric July is doing better as a novice, untrained comics person compared to his 30-odd year, 30-odd year history in mainstream comics, right? So let me play this little clip that somebody, I think it was Texas Mofo, shared yesterday. Had to do with some strangeness, man. There's a lot of strangeness that always goes on around Comicsgate, right? Which kind of like is a really strange little wonder wall of things, right?
Yeah, after a while, you just kind of like, okay, sure. I don't know why I want to hear about it anymore.
Yeah, that's why. Like, I mean, I don't talk about it much, but I noticed that I had the whole Comicsgate, crowdfunding thing listed as something to talk about, and so I thought, well, in the sphere of things, right? There's a side of indie comics that is like really fun and really cool, and everybody's getting along and helping each other, right? And then there's the other side where they're basically creeping on everybody else, talking about them 24/7, plagiarizing other people's work, trying to bring them down, but not doing their own work. So, like me, when I come on stream, right, I only come on stream when I'm not working. Otherwise, I'm working. So, like today, while I was watching, Wiggle stream, and he had, with Matt on there and a whole bunch of other people, because I saw there's some people that I knew that were on there. You were on there as well. And so, but like then Raptor showed up, right? So, and I enjoy Raptor's thing, but like while everybody was talking, I'm on here editing, this comic book that that I'm actually an editor on, right? I'm the publisher on. And let me just bring this down. So I'm actually editing this while I'm listening to a stream, and not, so because I got to do the work, because I told the guys that I'll have this ready for the, with instructions for my artist, for the artist, I should say, not my artist, but he's worked for me before on other books like Robot Nation. So I said to him, look, I'll have this ready for you tomorrow. He's finished the last page, right? So we got to go over, which is this one here. So I got to go over everything and go, okay, I got to give him some notes. Now that we see everything laid out, every single page laid out, is there any changes made before we go here? Thank you for the work on this issue. Okay, now I can send it off to the, to the colorist. So now I got to send this, you know, to both the artist and the writer, because I'm not the writer on this book, I'm the editor and the publisher, right? So this is Valley of the Kings, and so, and this is issue 1, which will be coming out later this year. So this is all the artwork done, but it's not, you know, this is before the prelim editing to go to the final stage of, you know, making sure everything's ready to go to colorist. So while I'm watching, you know, like I'm saying, I'm not like, this is why I only stream when we're free, so I make my time available to do that. But these guys stream all the time, dude, right? So how do you get time to do any work if you're streaming all the time? So I'm just going to play this little clip.
I have no idea.
Yeah, right.
Now, again, this is something that we're finding with Liam Gray. Like, Liam is just like, fuck it, I'm going all the way with Anna. You know, Liam is like, lying propagandist blames Koala Man. That would be Liam for her lot. These could have been better written, Liam. Talentless Ethot blames Malin for Kelsey departing the odorous stink of her C word for vagina. He named.
No, I don't know too much about Anna, but I know she's like a part of that whole Star Wars Phantom Menace thing. And Liam is somebody who, I guess he's a writer, a comic book creator from Australia who does like Western style manga, which is not real actual manga, but more like manga inspired comic books.
Yeah, I do that as well, right? Like I've got a
right.
So that's why I don't call my manga. I know it's actually inspired by manga because it's more, yeah. It's not Western, it's not a Japanese doing it. Yeah, it's a Western, right? It's not a Japanese who's actually drawing it, who's trained in that. But I've got a Argentinian artist who's been trained in manga.
Really?
And from he's the guy that does my the tortoise manga. But even then, I do that manga like it's Western style. So the panels are Western, you know, not like Japanese manga style. So I don't call it manga. I tab it as manga because it looks like manga, but you know, I try to make it as manga as I can, but still, you know, Western. But one thing is this, like, dude, this dude, like, how many hours a day do you think he streams, bro?
I'm not sure the exact number. I'm sure someone's calculated it, but the evidence that he has no work done except for maybe, I think, two out of like what 8 books or something like that. 2 out of 3. Like if, for instance, if you want Rainbow Brute, you can get Rainbow the Brute from Mike Wheeler. So I mean, that's like the next best thing you can do to get it. Because why wait for this asshole?
So let me just show you what Tim's talking about, right? So this is a book that was paid for by people 6 years ago, right? This is on Indiegogo. He raised over $500,000, dude. This is $500,000 that people have actually paid this dude to within a year give them a book, a 22-page book. But here's a fairy tale satire for real men. This is a guy who hates LGBT. Yet he's got a character he's put like, you know, rainbows on, and has got bronies, right? Because we know bronies are like adult males who like My Little Pony, right? They're creepos who are wood chipper people because they're like disgusting. But here's a character that EVS, right, has basically drawn up, and he had in 6 years, right? When did this start? Where is it? Where's the date on these things? Right? Shouldn't it say when this was campaign was started? Somewhere here? No, it doesn't say. So it's got no. I'm sure it says somewhere. But look, 3,795 people paid him $539,614 to get a book to them 6 years ago. A simple 22-page book. And this is what he does all day long, bro. He's a professional comic book artist, right? All he's got to do is sit around and draw and then write, right? So I don't know who this is, Ritter, right? And he's the colorist on this. But dude, I don't know, man. I really don't know how this guy is able to keep somebody's money, $500,000, dude, and not put a 22-page book out.
This is a 22-page book, and he can't. It's taking him 6 years to do a 22-page book.
No, he hasn't even done it, though.
Yeah,
He hasn't. It's not even finished yet.
That's my point, though. It's like it doesn't take you that long. It shouldn't take you that long to do a 22-page book.
Dude, I mean, I know how long. I mean, I know how long it takes me to do a 22-page book because we are part-timers, right? Like that's why I work on about 6-7 books at the same time, or I'm editing somebody else's book, and I'm either coloring, lettering, or designing other books while I'm somebody else is drawing another book. So he's got all these artists. He's got $500,000, dude. That's in New Zealand. Gosh, let me tell you exactly how much that is in New Zealand currency, right? Because I'm like thinking that's two houses. No, that's 3 friggin' houses if I remember right. So let me get the currency exchange. Where are you, my little? Where are you, currency exchange? Because I deal with a lot, with American money and all that, and so payments and so on. So a New Zealand dollar right now, a single New Zealand dollar. Let me show you guys so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about here. Is here, right? So this is a XE, right? XE exchange rate. So $1 US is 60 cents more, right? If you bring, like right now, Tim, if you come to New Zealand and you've got your $1, right? Now you've got $60.69. So let me put what was it? 5.6. What was the exact number on that? So I'll get that right. The exchange rate for how much people have given this dude of their hard-earned money, right? This is what really pisses me off. This is why I say I'm a little bitter. And I wrote that just for the hell of it, but like it's from a song, of course. Why isn't that going and doing the numbers that I want to do a copy paste? So 539. Oops, 539 615. Let's just say that, right? This is how much it is, dude. It's 100,000 short of $1 million. You can buy 3 houses in New Zealand right now, and I don't mean just average houses. I mean good houses, 4-bedroom houses. Right, 3 to 4 bedroom houses, depending where it is. And this is what I get pissed off about this dude, and being able to use his clout from being a former mainstream artist, and he's not really that good, to be honest. If you look at his work, he's not really that good. He was good, but now, like, if you look at some of his work, it doesn't. It's like it doesn't really. It's like it's so cartoony compared to what he used to do. And it's like it doesn't work the way it's just
it seems like he's just phoning it in.
Basically people like it's the thing is like using your clout to get all these people in to to follow you, spend all their money. Like I said, $900,000 New Zealand, 539,000 US, and all he had to show was covers. But rather than actually doing any work, it's been 6 years, dude, and he hasn't. And look, that leg looks weird right away. Right, to me, that just looks weird right away. Fingers, right. Doesn't match the shape of the hands. Like, look at the thumb. right? It's curved in like that, and compared to that. So a lot of people think, oh yeah, because he's worked out there, and look at this. It's like, what is this? It's not even his own art. Like he's so yeah. These like you got all these. That cracks me up that like people would spend that much money, and like I said, somebody in like when this came out in 2020, they now have a child that's 6 years old, and this dude hasn't even been able to put a 22-page comic book out, dude. Right? Hey, what's up, Lunchbox? Hey, perfect timing. We're just looking at a lunchbox. That Ethan Van Sciver calls a briefcase. Right? This dude here, Warren, 6 years ago, dude, he put his comic book out. 6 years, dude, on Indiegogo, and 6 years later, this is a professional, right? I just showed the chat that like 6 years ago, if you had your money now, right? Let me just do a thing, right? Let me just do it. I'm going to go to Grok, and I say, Grok, how much is what? Okay, how much would the money? Would this? Well, hold on. Would that in 2020 be now with inflation? With inflation in 2026. So this is what really cracks me up, man. Warren, how many comic books you've drawn? And plus, Warren with Lunchbox Comics, he is a colorblind dude, which really amazes me that dude's been is amazing and able to put so many comics out. And here's what I want to tell you guys: this is how much people have paid. And if they kept it in their own pockets, they would have earned more interest, right? You would have this is what the interest is, and with inflation is how much people have given to, right? That what you see on the screen there, and then what you see in the chat thing. But the 6 years, it's $100,000 that's been sitting in his bank account. Like he's basically earned, let me get the number here. So he's basically gotten $140K in interest, dude. $140K in interest with back his money over that 6 years. Why would you want to get out? Why would you want to give people their stuff when you're just making interest? Why would you want to get a 22-page book out when people are just giving you super chat money every time you stream? Right? Why would you waste, your time drawing a 22-page book? This is why I'm saying I'm a little better, but I'm in jest because I'm already getting my work out, right? And as I showed earlier, I'm an editor and publisher for somebody else's book, which is what I was doing while we were watching another stream earlier, called Out of Pangaea, right? So I was editing. I was like going through here and putting notes down, saying, hey, we got to make some changes here on this book, right? This what is that, 40-page book? Yeah, it's not 40 page, about 38 page. Yeah, 36, sorry, we got to kill that one. I just added an extra page because we have a couple of changes we had to make, right? So I was editing this comic book because I'm the publisher editor on this, and the letterer, by the way, and design on this book, right? So while I was, if I can get this thing away from here. Oh, you guys can't see it, but there's like a little thing on the screen. So this is what I was doing while I was watching a stream, right? Putting in notes, hey, we got to do a bit of changes because I want it to be more impactful, so we can looks really cool as the last page, right? And so this is an Italian artist who's doing this work for us for my our new a writer who came to us and said, hey, can you would like to put can you publish my book, help me publish my comic book, right? And so I said, okay, let me look at what it is. And so it's going to be coming out from Plunge Enterprises, Plunge NZ, I should say Plunge Comics. So, so I had to go through, this is the logo he had already designed. His name is, and we got to get a colorist in here. So I'm the editor and letter on this, and designer. And so now we got to get I've already lined up one of my colorists to do that, one of my artists to color this. So, here's me playing around with the colors just to see what it'll look like as a cover A. He's already done cover B, and we've already got thing. But we're able to get this all sorted out in a year, bro. 40-page comic book, right? Actually get the inks down. But this dude, right? This dude who is a friggin', let me remove that, is a mainstream comics pro, has all the secrets. Can't get a 22-page comic out with all his connections, with all, someone who do all this. Carl Ritter is supposed to be his colorist, right? That's this dude over here who's colored all these. But he keeps blaming everybody else for not being able to get a 22-page book out. But he's always, right? He's always on stream talking all that shit, as, Raptor likes to say. So I'm gonna. Sorry, carry on.
I was gonna say, it doesn't take me that long to put out a 44-page book. How come we can't put out a 22-page book?
6 years, bro. Right. Also, by the way, I asked Warren a question about how long how much work he has done in that time. So, Warren, how many years did it take you to? Where is it? You did answer it. I am going to. Oh yeah, yeah. You're right. I should use the word professional. Because he would rather talk about other people's vaginas than be drawing, right? But no, he should be. I should correct myself there. He wants to talk about other people talking about other people's vaginas rather than drawing. So Warren said he's done about 500 pages, and Warren isn't. Warren, would you class yourself as a professional or as a hobbyist? Right. So Warren's written there. He goes, I took 5 months to make a 76-page comic, and that's with a full-time job, and I moved. See that? So he's a hobbyist, like myself. He's a hobbyist, semi, I guess, part-timer is what I call myself, right? Even though I'm working all the time on my comic books, I don't spend every single time on the 7 comic books I'm working on, because otherwise my brain would be fried, right? Yeah. So Warren calls himself a professional, right? Because he's doing the work. He gets home and he's on stream drawing. He shows you he's drawing. Yeah, but he doesn't live off it. But this dude basically, I would love to what is it called? Is it something Blade? Is it Social Blade? I think it's Social Blade that tells you like how much you earn and shit. Let me I think Social Blade is a what is it called? Hold on, let me ask Grok. Right. Oh, well, I'll play this while just to see what sort of nasty person this human being is that's supposed to know all about comics and wants your money and thinks so little of everybody else that's not in Comicsgate, and why everybody outside of Comicsgate thinks of thinks of Comicsgate as something to be despised, right? And I'll go find that the numbers. Hopefully Grok has all the numbers for about super chat money this guy earns and why he doesn't draw because of those super chat monies.
Now, again, this is something that we're finding with Liam Gray. Like, Liam is just like, fuck it, I'm going all the way with Anna. Liam is like, lying propagandist blames Koala Man, that would be Liam, for her lot. These could have been better written, Liam. Talentless Ethot blames Malin for Kelsey departing the odorous stink of her C word for vagina. He names his daughter after my dad's sister. Dad spelled D-E-D. This is some war campaign fucking shit. Liam, what the hell is the matter with you that you're talking about this? Why are you thinking about how Anna's vagina smells? Why are you thinking that? Like that's some grade A negging there. Can you imagine that fucking, like, that's insane. The rest of this stuff might be well taken. You might have arguments for that. But it's like, what are you doing thinking about how Anna's vagina stinks? Like, what are you talking about? You've never been there. Liam, Anna's vagina is like New Jersey. You've never been and you'll never be here. You'll never go. Anna's vagina is like the state of New Jersey. You only wish you'd been there. But you never have and you never will. Never have and you never will. Never have and you never will. What is going on with you? What is going on with you? That's insane.
I don't know what to say to that, man. I really don't know. This sort of behavior by two people who are part of the same group, Comicsgate, right? Right. And you want to add something to that, man? I'm lost for words, bro.
Well, I don't know. It's like, okay, you're going to focus on something that doesn't matter to justify why you can't get to books. I mean, that's really what it is. It's somebody who's like full of shit, full of themselves, and procrastinating because they don't want to do the work.
Sorry for that. Like, I was trying to slim it down so we can go to the next page.
I mean, he said it so himself. It's like no one cares about comic books, and that's why he does all the drama. So, see, that to me tells me that your books aren't really that good. So you're going to go use theatrics to kind of generate interest in your books instead of actually getting your projects done.
So the chat's responding to that, right? Leaving a comment. I like how EVS very selectively polices his minions, right? Liam's part Rama. EVS knows what's wrong with them, right? Ayn right. Someone we know. And so CG outside of the Kings has been reduced to this: chubby, unfunny narcissists who act like children, upset with pretty women they can't have and being mean to them to get their attention. We have Vita with Salad, Tony and Kelly Bear, Liam and Anna, right? So, you know, it's just like, this is like, I try to stay away from this shit, but like, this is what's damaging crowdfunding, bro. These narcissists, man. All right. This one hit NTO Whack says, Koala Boy is on a rampage. Narcissist is experiencing bipolar mania symptoms, which include extreme euphoria or irritability, high energy, decreased need for sleep, racing thoughts, rapid speech, grandiosity, impulsivity, risky spending, sex, easily. These are like impulsivities, right? So yeah, risky spending and sex. Compulsive behavior. So easily distracted behavior and sometimes psychosis like hallucinations, illusions, all leading to poor judgment, impaired functioning. What the hell does this have to do with happen to the stream, right? I pause it and when I come back, it's gone. Well, maybe I'm not sure what that is, but here you got like people going, well, Anna is when you take super chat money to strip off, you know, so it just seems like these people out here and they wonder why crowdfunding for comics people have left, why it's so low now, because of this sort of behavior, bro. I think it's like people are tired of this sort of like, you know, it's just this gross behavior, bro.
Well,
I don't know what's gonna
another
happen,
thing I
man.
like to point out, I know another thing that I want to point out is the topic of conversation since 2015 hasn't changed, right? And I've said this before, like the EVS has shifted who he's attacking because the social justice warriors have just learned to simply ignore him. So they don't even. CG didn't change or win anything. It's a lie.
Okay, for people who don't know what CG is, right? Because I mean, everything it changes, right? From what I understand, like I got invited to CG, semi-invited, kind of like by way of somebody, right? Who saw like, okay, CG sounds like a good thing back in 2019, bro. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do my own thing, and they can do their own thing, and all the best to them. And I'm just gonna keep to myself, and we're gonna, work with people, and I'll interview people that don't even work with us, because it'll be great to have other creators on, on my show or on my streams, so we can talk to them about their work. Because I know, because of my background in sales for about over a decade, because of my background in owning a comic shop, and in running, conventions, that not everybody's going to like what I create or what I write. So having other people come on and talk about what they create, maybe the guys who don't like what I create, they can support those guys. Yet when I look back at Comicsgate now, it's like, that's what it used to be. Now it sounds like they basically don't like anyone who does their own thing. And if they're not part of them, they will go out there and attack the hell out of them, make sure that they don't earn a cent, because they're the other.
Well, it's simple. They just really want them to support them. They don't want to expand Comicsgate. They even said so. They just want people to just give them money. That's why he's calling everybody zeros and da. And if you don't make this much, then you're not Comicsgate. Blah blah blah. That kind of thing.
So I asked, I'm asking Google how to find all these things, right? So there was supposed to be like a site where you can go and find out. They tell you how to find out your own, but how you can find out somebody else's. But I don't really care about anybody earning anything. I really don't, because what's that got to do with me? People can earn what the hell they want. But when you go across to actually harm somebody's earning, that's something else. That's like you're being like you're just being evil because you don't want anybody else to earn a living. You're happy with you earning a living, but you don't want anybody else. And that's so selfish. This is why I say, like, I don't really, I love to invite other people to talk with me about their work, because I find that interesting. I find that something good, because that means that they can find an audience for themselves, that they can actually, grow their reader base, and maybe their reader base that they're growing might come to like what I have, or my reader base, or my, whatever, friends will go and buy their stuff. And I think, this whole thing about, like, the only reason what I see with Comicsgate now from what they were is that they, like you said, man, that there's just a group of them at the top. They call themselves the Kangs, or the Kings, Comicsgate Kings. There's about a handful of them, probably about less than a dozen, right? And they're the only ones who want to run the show. So it's like the communist elite, right, at the top. Everybody else, like they say, they're the peasants, right? Everybody's a peasant. They can scrounge for all the little bits on the bottom, but they want you to support them. They want you to send them super chat. They want you to buy their stuff, but never mind everybody else at the bottom. Like I said, the dude's been like that money that everybody gave him, $500,000, is now earned him $140,000 in interest just sitting there in the bank for the last 6 years, right? That's about 200K in New Zealand. You can buy a house. You can buy an apartment for that much. an average one, not a really flashy one, but an average apartment, right? You can buy yourself a house for that much. So why would you, jump online and actually work? Why would you, why wouldn't you work rather than jump online and stream about 10 hours a day and then jump on somebody else's stream for a couple of hours and then jump on somebody else's stream and then jump on somebody else's stream and then come back and do your own. And all you do is just sit there and talk, but you're doing what we're doing, right? Talking about the other people's shit. But we're not doing more than like a couple of hours because most of the time I got work, you got work, right? And so everybody else is basically going, why are these guys so bitter against everybody else when they're earning $500,000 and somebody over there is getting 200,000, 200,000, 5,000, 2,000? Why are they so hateful towards those people, right? Yeah, I'm the same. Warren says, Lunchbox Comics says, that's why I'm not part of the indie comics community. Yeah, right? Because it's been like it's kind of like feels like if you're on your own, then you're the other, and if you're in Comicsgate, you got to hate everybody else, right? So I like the fact that I can just do whatever I want around whoever I want, support my publisher, right, which is Rising Sun Comics, and be there to grow that as well as publish myself and put our comics and support artists from around the world. And it gives me a big idea of the whole industry rather than just looking at my own navel and going, this is my little Comicsgate area, everybody else sucks, right?
I was, like I said in the chat, I don't think the indie comic book quote unquote community is the problem. Comicsgate is, and that's because that's where all the drama farming and whatnot is coming from. And so people who haven't made a book yet or still haven't finished a book, they pick up this kind of nonsense of, oh, that's how you get attention. You cause drama with people and go around saying outrageous things all the time for clout. You don't be who you really are. You just pretend to be somebody else, and that's apparently how they think they get a book made, and it's not. You just do the fucking work. It's not a hard concept.
Yeah, man. This is why I don't like to bring them up, because that's just giving them more clout, right? Giving them more reason to attack somebody else or do whatever else, because it's for them, it's just like more fodder, right? More ammunition, I should say, to go out there, attack people. Oh, they're picking on us. They're picking on the whole victim mentality. Well, if you do the work, and don't try to like trash everybody else around it, right? It just seems really strange to go out of the way to let me see. So here, okay, look at. Remember, I said I was going to ask Grok about, let me see if I can bring this up in here. If it's make it bigger, go back to 100. Oh, we are on 100, but let's see if we can do 200. Oh, 110. Right. So here, I asked Grok about this, right? This about EVS, how much his channel does, right? So it's got no they don't, YouTube does not have publicly disclose super chats totals for any creator. Only the creator sees it, right? But here's what they're saying, right? He has never shared his super chats since 2020. However, in his streams, he occasionally mentions individual super chats or hourly averages. One in 2026 mentioned $120 an hour. You can pay someone to draw a page for that, right? Imagine paying somebody $120 a page, or maybe $200, whatever, depending on how good you want your page to be. For 22 days, give them $2,200, or make it $400, right? $4,000. Hey, bro, here's my art style. I like your art style. Please, now, here's here's 5K whatever. Can you draw this? And I'm talking about US dollars. Draw these 22 pages for me. Here's the idea. Here's my what would you call it? Like here's my storyboard. My outline. Set up how I want everything. He would have that done within like less than 2 months, give or take, depending how fast the artist is, right? And if he's paying them straight up, then it'll be done faster. It's like, hey, do me a page, or every page you put in, I'll pay you that, right? Or every 4 page, whatever, depending whatever your contract is. And I don't like to talk about other people's contract or even my own contracts, right? So it is what it is. Now, so he's saying here, like, you can go out and find it, but he's saying like peak streams, $100 to $200 an hour, right? So if you're doing that, that's $1,000 a day if he does 10 hours, right? US dollars. So that's $1,600 New Zealand. That's good money for doing basically nothing but talking, right? And so it just seems strange that, and this is the reason I was trying to say, is that why he doesn't freaking actually draw. He'll do a couple hours and that's it, because he'll go back to streaming, right? And then so he's going to be basically going, well, I don't need to, I can earn the same amount, if not more money, just by talking than having to draw. That's why for about 6 years now, he hasn't actually put out a 22-page comic book. He just gave everybody, hey, look, here's my, here's the idea of the comic book. Here's the covers we're going to do. All these great, pie in the sky shit. But then when you look at what he's actually done previously, we've seen art like, I think what Wiggle out of Pangea said, hey, he was supposed to do a $400 head sketch, bro. He paid him up front for a head sketch. And it had squiggle lines on it. And it was a whole mess, like nothing of this quality. $400, right? And this is the thing about when you give this big name, comic pros, mainstream, former or current working, they just run off with your money. There's no guarantee you will get it, right? This is why for myself, right, I wanted to make sure, right, as I was saying here before, that I wanted to make after seeing all this, I was like, oh my God, I need to make sure my comic is finished, or the comics that we're working on is actually finished, that people see that we're actually are working on them, that we actually have these works, that we're going to actually have these all out and done before we go to print. I mean, before we actually go to Kickstarter, where we have where we're going to be releasing them through, all right? And here we are in, let me see, where are we? January, and we're not releasing this until October sometime, October, November, because we're putting out 2 comics at the same time. So you got 2 40-page, 36, and a 40-page book, right? 2 separate comic books at the same time, so that people can pay less for freight if they get both books, right? So you say you want a 30-page comic book, full colored, for $10, and then you add another comic book for $10, 40-page. Now all you got to pay is $20 or whatever, $15. I don't know how much it is at the moment for freight for 2 comics into 1 package, and now you save, and the comic is already done, so you don't have to wait around for 6 years twiddling your fingers hoping it'll be, you may or may not get it.
Well, I have forsaken crowdfunding. So I mean, if that's what some people want to do, that's cool. But what I'm doing is I'm taking it back to the old school and doing more live events, conventions, in-store book signings, and also then at the same time posting. Like I said, I got pinned on my profile on X. I have my LinkedIn tree, so they can just click on the link and then they can find all the listed. Basically, the idea is 80% in real life and 20% online.
Yeah, so I'm actually waiting for this to show you guys another screen that's going to open up, right? So it's almost there. I'm waiting for this thing to show this other comic that we're going to be releasing, right? Together, issue 1 and 2, right? Together, 40-page comic book, 2 issues at the same time, right? I just got to go in and do the spell check and grammar that my artist, has already edited, and then I'm going to, like, once I've finished that editing, then I'm going to go up and send it to another friend and go, hey, can you read this and make sure that even my spell check is actually ready before we put it out. So this is a 40-page comic book, which I'll be talking to my artist with on this coming Wednesday, I think it is. Yeah, in 2 days' time, to talk about his world building and art style, who's from Sweden, by the way, right? So we got all these. So, and he's actually finished issue 2, right? So we're going to put out, he's coloring issue 2 now, but here is issue 1, all completed. Just got to, I got to go through and I've done all the back matter, right? So this is the one that's going to come out with this one I was showing earlier, which is where is it? It is the futuristic sci-fi one. So this is Valley of the Kings that somebody else has written, that I'm actually publishing and editing and lettering on, and that's coming out with this one. This is a self-contained 44-page comic book, full color, right? So we're putting out full color comics apart from our manga, and which we're doing 2 at the same time, so people can actually get cheaper freight. One of the other things, and like you mentioned, Tim, about you just going direct to retail and not worry about crowdfunding. Not everybody can afford to go to crowdfunding to not go direct, right? So a lot of us and go through crowdfunding to help get our projects funded, especially when you're doing about 6 or 7, right? Whereas like with this one here, I actually paid for the colorist to finish this one myself. So the colorist is, it's all done. The book is totally complete, right? Ready to go. Robot Nation, that will be, So one thing is that this is why I get pissed off with CG and Comicsgate, is because they go out of their way to harm and damage crowdfunding for those of us who actually, use it to promote ourselves, use it to raise funds. Because look, even though we do this in crowdfunding, what that does for us is actually help us publish it. Then we can take that to actual conventions and stuff. Last year, my comic book Incredigle basically went to issue number 1 went to a convention in America, right?
There you go. Forgot to do that. I hear you, but you know what people used to do when they weren't able to make a full comic book? They would make an ash can. That's back in the day. So my solution for people who need, can't make a full book, make a series of ash cans and then put them together. Like hand them out for free or maybe a little bit of money, and then when you have enough for a full book, you put them together as a full book.
Yeah, but that's if you can afford to, right? Because at the end, unless you're an artist, you have to find someone else, and you got to pay someone else to draw it, right?
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. So, and also the other thing is that if you don't have spare cash, right, then you got to get it out of your own pocket. And so a lot of people who are actually, married and families and all that, if they don't have that, then they got to actually, find another means, which is what crowdfunding is for. And which was what crowdfunding was for 5 years ago or 6 years ago, in 2020, when everybody, was actually wanting to support people get, fulfill their dreams of being, because they saw how mainstream comics was actually destroying what, like, for lack of a better word, their childhood characters, right? And so people said, well, why don't we, create our own stories and things that we've want to do rather than just read this trash that's out there. And hopefully, it'll bring people to the, to come and read our comics and support us. And they did. But then around comes Ethan Van Sciver with the takeover of Comicsgate and destruction of every other, destroying the reputation of every other indie creator. Like, I mean, look, I don't usually talk about Niobe Comics, right? Warren would know a bit more. Hey, Warren, do you want to come on stream, man? Like, because you've known Naomi for a while and stuff, but also, do you want to come on right now and promote your comic book, bro? Here's a link. Since since you're on the chat, man, and I'll clip it later for you to share or talk about later. Unless I know you're probably actually working right now while you're listening to us, but I just find like I can't be the only one who's pissed off at the behavior of Comicsgate at the rest of the indie community and how they basically try to take away. And Mike, in what I'm saying, in one case, right, for people who are around the world, not just in America, but globally, money from their table with their behavior.
There's plenty of people that are pissed off. When I started in, I think it was a little before 2021, but I think my first actual full campaign was 2021. People like me kind of finally there's a movement where I can actually do what I've always wanted to do and make a comic book. There are other people out there that are as serious as I am. And then you find out this whole thing was a lie because the people at the top, these plants from the mainstream, these has-beens, these people who are so willing to sell out, they were just using you as cannon fodder, and now they have no more use for you. So now you're a zero to them, which I never asked EVS for a goddamn thing, and I don't ever plan to. As far as he's concerned, he can munch my nuts because how can I put this? I barely remember Cyberfrog because, like I said back in the day, I saw an ad in a Wizard magazine one time, and that was it. That's the last time I ever saw that thing. I thought for a split second, oh, cool, and that was it. And I never saw Cyberfrog ever again, and I was mostly an Image guy anyway. Before Image existed, I was a Marvel guy, I guess. So these guys, I barely know any of them. The only one I knew I've ever heard of before was Dale. And hell, I think the guy who created Creed, I think he was more popular than EVS anyway. Because I remember there's more articles about Creed than there was about Cyberfrog. I mean, that's just my 2 cents. And by the way, fuck you, EVS.
Yeah, it just seems like everybody, is starting to realize, if they haven't already realized, that this group of people, at the top of this chain of pyramid, which basically what it seems like now, it's a pyramid Ponzi scheme, right? That they sit there looking down on everybody else, but not only that, they go out of their way to destroy other people. So one of those people that I want to talk about quickly as we end here is about over a year ago, I interviewed this dude called Frog Tony, right? Because he was I saw that he was creating a book. Because, like I said, I like to talk to other people about what they do, creatives and writers. It's one of my things, and it's always been to promote and help other people. And people who outside of New Zealand don't really know me about that. But I've been doing this since 2009, right? Promoting and helping other people. I had blogs, I had video interviews. I'd walk up with my little mobile phone or my tablet, my Samsung Galaxy tablet, and stick it in front of people and go, hey, tell us about what you're doing, man. And this will be at conventions, right? Even little draw. There was a group called, they're still going for about almost 15 years now, called Drawfest, who I actually paid to bring into my shop, right? Cost me $500 to pay for their petrol and stuff and take them for dinner. Group of 20 of them actually came up one time, and so
if you read it, you would
let me stop that. And so back in 2009, I paid my own plane ticket, right, to go to Auckland, which is at 2 hours because my back was still hurting at that time, couldn't get around. I actually paid my own plane ticket to go and stay in a hotel or motel for the night because for the 2 nights there was an event on in Auckland. And I would go up and record all that. Then I would go back home and I would put together a blog to promote those guys out of my own friggin' pocket. Nobody said, "Hey, how'd you get here? Oh, where are you staying? You know, do you want to come and stay at my place?" And I go, "No, I'll take care of myself. I don't like, going to somebody else's place and causing them problems." So I would pay my own plane ticket. I'd get in a taxi, go to the event, take the, do the video recordings, the interviews, and then write up a blog. And then I'd promote them, right? I was actually part of an actual blog from India promoting people from around the world back in 2009, 11, 10, right? Before I had my massive head injuries, which made me forget a bunch. But so I have that background for, what are we, about 17 years now, 15 years, let alone running all the, So, but then you've got these guys out here, all right, professionals who come in and try to destroy crowdfunding for everybody except themselves. But this dude can't get a 22-page comic out in 6 years, bro. But here he is attacking a black dude, all right, who has actually probably put out like about a dozen in that same period of time, man. Right? I just think it's funny, dude. It's got to be one of the craziest things, right? You're muted there, Tim.
Yeah, well, I was gonna. All right. I was looking at something while you were talking.
Wait, you're not paying attention?
Well, I was paying attention, bro.
Are you like guests on Raptor Stream, like playing your own game and not actually listening to what I'm talking about?
What? Nah, man, don't play me like that. I was gonna say something. I had something to say that.
Yeah, I made you stop. That's why I wanted to make sure that I made you forget.
I'm on to you, buddy.
All right, carry on.
Oh.
Fine, I'll play this.
I can't do it. It's really rough, man. People are lonely in this world. There are people who are lonely, and I feel bad for them. I do feel bad for them.
So this is from like over 200 what is it called? What does it call them? Trash casts. 200 live streams he's done for about over 2 hours minimum, right? Averaging about 3 hours about this dude. This guy for 6 years or so has been talking about this black dude and how bad this black dude is at making comics, while this dude here hasn't even been able to put out a 22-page comic book.
I feel bad because everybody.
That's what I was going to talk about. So I forgot. This is the guy I was going to talk about. How I interviewed this guy, right? So I got Frog Tony, and I talked to him about his comic book, and I wanted to bring his artists on because usually I get on better with artists because I'm also an artist and design, so I have that all that in my background. But he only the artists didn't come on, so Frog Tony was on there, and we talked about it. We had a good time, and then about 3 months later, Frog Tony goes and starts plagiarizing Larry Higgins' work. And I'm like, I'm not cool with that. So I basically unlisted his interview. I was like, I can't support someone, who's actually plagiarizing someone else's work and because it's just they've got a beef with them. You don't touch somebody's money, right? And you don't touch somebody's creation because that takes a lot of effort to put together something. And I don't care how much you hate someone, you just don't do that.
I vaguely remember that. Did he ever get him to stop doing that? Because Frog Tony is not a very original at anything. I mean, his character, he had a frog character that was basically a ripoff of an existing Marvel property. And word has it, I'm not too sure, but I think he got like a cease and desist.
I think that was like about 2 years ago, bro, when I interviewed him, right? So I don't know if if that was, I know that Nobi was posting, and now like here's the thing about being an artist, right? It takes a lot of time and effort and thinking about putting something out there. You don't just put something out there. I've seen people just put something out there, and I'm like, dude, why don't you go rework that a few times before you do that, right? But when you actually have something that's actually published, and then somebody goes out there because you started a beef with them, or they started a beef with you, that's got nothing to do with your creation. Why don't you just go one-on-one with whatever you're going one-on-one about? Why are you going to go on about about what they're creating? And it's like, it's like you having a beef with somebody after school, but you take it to school, right? Or you had a fight with them in the weekend, but you take that to school. You don't do that. It's like, that's my place of business, like basically what it was for me. So I unlisted it. And then he started going at me going, well, how dare you? I'm like, yeah, I heard and I saw those images. And I'm like, I'm not going to leave your interview out there as good as it was, because I don't want to be known as someone who helps promote plagiarists, and I'm just not going to do that. But here's the thing about this dude. Now, Texas Mofo, one of the CG guys, right, clipped, basically, now it turns out that this dude was DMing some terrible things to this, to some ladies. And that's the other thing. It's like, these guys are like, look, as I said the other day with Lakari, right? Male's goon. That's cool. But internet is not where you go and put that out there, right? I was trying to remember way back in 92, 93, bro, when I was my first girlfriend. And she's from Taiwan. And she wanted to go to Taiwan. She was going home, right, to visit people, her family and stuff. And she wanted to, have my aftershave on her shirt. So that she could take a shirt with her so she can. I mean, the girl was in love, right? And we were very lovey. When you're teenagers, you love that, right? And so I'm like, nowadays people are like actually DMing private parts to each other on the internet. That this dude here, right? This dude here is happy to expose all that. Why would you let that shit go out there, man, publicly, and then this dude has been known all the time to expose your DMs.
Right. Which is what, the things people share on the internet. It's just like, why would you share that with people? I.e. Finatra talking about pinworms. I don't know why you bring that up. I don't know why anybody would want to hear about that. So, yeah, people share too much on the internet. And EVS is a type of person to use that against you.
Yeah, it seems like that is his MO. Like he was working with this dude, right? And then he stabs him in the back, and then he basically goes and also exposes his DMs, private friggin' exchanges. If somebody did that with me, I'd be like, I am never going to talk to you again, bro.
Oh yeah, it's just, yeah. But then, once he does it, everything he does or suggests these followers of his, these beta males that don't have the spine to listen to themselves and follow themselves, will follow suit. Will follow with. They'll do the same thing he does, because EVS does it, so they have to do it too. Just like they think it's okay to take forever to make a book.
Well, they're saying good things take time. It's like, it doesn't take friggin' 6 years to do a comic book, bro. Especially if you're the artist. Especially if you are a professional who can probably put out a page of 6 hours a day, let alone a couple hours, depending how long, right? But I think I can't remember who it was, but somebody said that a professional said, was it Darwin Cook? Or was it someone else who said, the only time I've ever been late on a comic book, and I've always been on time, was when EVS was drawing it. I can't remember. I cannot remember if it was Darwin Cook who said that, but I specifically know. Yeah, he said it's the only time I've ever been late is because of EVS, and now we know why, right? The guy just doesn't. He's all talk, man. Yeah, he can draw, but dude, right?
Right. It's like shut the fuck up and get the book done. You know that some things are like some things. Some of the best things in pop culture were things that were slapped together, like and not really thought it was going to go anywhere. Like Mortal Kombat's a perfect example. They were going to do a Jean-Claude Van Damme, beat 'em up type of game, but Jean-Claude didn't. I guess he kind of pulled out the deal at the last second. So they had all this leftover stuff, and they took it and they made Mortal Kombat with it. And they didn't think it was going to go anywhere. They thought it was going to fade into obscurity. So when their boss said, "Hey, you guys are going to work on Mortal Kombat 2," they were actually considering trying to do a Star Wars arcade game and trying to get the permission from George Lucas. But their boss said, "No, your Mortal Kombat just made like $1,000 in quarters,
right,
or $1 million or something like that." So it became a phenomenon. In fact, it was but it was also very controversial that it actually changed the system we know today with the game ratings.
Yeah,
but that was
brutality, right?
Yeah,
brutality,
fatality.
Yeah, get over here. I actually remember. I actually remember when when I was a kid, right? Maybe about 15, 16, skateboarding to another town because I lived in Mortimer, right? And Pahir was like the coastal town, which is like about 40-minute, give or take 20-minute by car, but like about an hour or so if you're hitchhiking, And I used to hitchhike there every other weekend, and so every now and then I might put a quarter down, or 10, 20 cents at that time, and play it. And I love the whole. I mean, playing that. But what I had at home was Atari. I had was it Atari? I think it was Atari Barbarian, bro. Barbarian, when you turn around and chop off that dude's head, dude, and the head goes plop plop plop, and a guy comes, like a beast, whatever troll comes over and pulls the body away by the foot. That was my game. But my mates used to play Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. But that they didn't think that game was going to go anywhere, but it did. Another example is I talk about hardcore a lot, but that thing's a cultural phenomenon that people really latched onto, that influenced everything from metal to alternative music. Those records were made in a day. They'd go in well prepared, record the album, and then like slap it together, put it in the sleeve, and it's ready to go. There was no like, oh, we're gonna take 6 months to make an album or an EP. It was just didn't happen that way. They did it within a day.
Talking about that, right? Just yesterday I was watching what was it like? Dude, I kind of like feel like an old man now because I don't like new music, in the sense that I don't like new bands, right? So yesterday I was watching what's it called? Rock Report. Was it Rock Report? Or Rock something, anyway. Let me see if I can find it. It's Rammstein and Youngblood, right? So Youngblood basically through Rammstein to the whatchamacallit. I can't remember who's the lead singer for Rammstein, man? Oh, the Rockbeat. That's it. So what's it? Oh no, yeah. So here's the thing, right? So not that one. So a lot of these new friggin' wannabes musicians are basically have no spine, bro. Right? This is why I don't like new music. These manufactured rock, whatever's popular thing, I don't like them because I love my old bands and I'll stick with my old bands, right? So there was this thing that came out, he put it out yesterday about Youngblood and Rammstein. So where to go? I think it's this one here. Wait, where is that? So he got called out for getting in a photo with maybe it is this one. Yeah, if it was yesterday. All right. All right. So, did you want to say anything, bro?
Oh yeah. I just one, I thought, well, everybody, people are too late. There's still good music out there. You just have to really look for it. So me, I'm like, I mean, I'll listen to something, but I might not. It doesn't mean I'll like it. I'm like, I ain't feeling it. But I just assume there's still good music out there. You just have to really look for it.
Yeah.
But my point is that this, you never know what's going to actually kind of catch fire, what's going to actually blow up.
Right.
Some things are like amazing, and they didn't spend that much time on it. It was just something they made, and it hit the right place, the right time, and people liked it.
Yeah. Well, let me play this, and I'll show you what I mean by like these new musicians have no backbone, right?
Youngblood is backtracking tonight after facing backlash from some of his fans for posing for a photograph with Rammstein frontman Till Lindemann. Youngblood says he wasn't aware of any allegations, despite the fact that Lindemann has vehemently denied wrongdoing, vigorously defended himself in court, and a criminal investigation into the matter was dropped, citing insufficient evidence. But now questions surrounding a recent collaboration he had has some fans pointing out the inconsistencies here. Here's what we know. Youngblood is doing major damage control tonight after a single photo with Rammstein frontman Till Lindemann sparked an immediate wave of backlash online. The singer has issued an apology, claiming he had no idea about the allegations surrounding Lindemann. But that excuse is now dragging another rock legend into the conversation, raising questions about a recent collaboration he did. The controversy started earlier this week when Lindemann posted a photo of the two meeting in Perth, captioning it an absolute pleasure. The comment section immediately turned hostile, criticizing Youngblood, an artist who's built his entire brand on social activism, for posing with the Rammstein singer. And now, earlier today, Youngblood responded with a direct message, claiming total ignorance. He stated, quote,
I had absolutely no idea. If I knew about any allegations, it would have been a completely different story.
He promised to be more aware in the future. Now,
I seriously, I hate these sort of people, man. I hate hypocrisy. I really do. It's one of the things that really pisses me off about people is when they don't have your back, they just they never even before you would had to say anything about Rammstein or Till Lindemann, go and talk to Till Lindemann, right? So what's this about? Okay, make up my own mind and then go. But these people, because they live their whole life in front of people and they desire that friggin' applause and that money, they don't really care about these older guys who've built that whole music style for these people to actually come and walk into. And that's why I get pissed off about these new musicians, man. I give me my friggin' Megadeth, give me my Tool, give me my friggin' Primus, give me my Alice in Chains. Fuck these new fucking musicians, bro.
They could have more of an old-fashioned Johnny Rotten attitude and just not give a shit about what anybody says.
Yeah, but they desire that social media clout, bro. They gotta have that, that applause. It's like, well, if you don't like my music, go listen to somebody else's music, right?
Yeah, well, I mean that's another thing about what I like about Rotten is that he didn't care if you liked him or not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm waiting for my Megadeth album, bro. I paid for it last October or something when it came out. I bought the let me see if I can find it. So Megadeth. I'm waiting for my delivery of the last final Megadeth album because I've got the last one. I bought the last album, and so far, I mean, the sick album, right? And then I went and ordered. As soon as I heard about it, I went and ordered this lot, and I'm waiting for. Where is it? Where are you? Wait, where's that not showing? Oh, that's because I'm not actually there. Hold on. I'm actually on it. Opened it for the news screen, which kind of sucks. But here it is, official store, right? So I bought this beautiful set here. Where are you? Collection. It was it's already gone. So it's already been sold. So the one I bought included this, included the tape, the album, and then also included the CD, right? So I made sure that I got everything because I've been a Megadeth fan since 87, 88. And my first album I ever heard from them was like So Far So Good, So What? Carry on.
So yeah, they're pretty good. I like Megadeth.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, you know, the dude's like 40-year history in music, bro. You know, and they're on the last tour, and I'm hoping that they'll come to New Zealand, and it'll probably be the last, concert I'll go to, because I just, it's one of my top number one band in the world. And then comes Iron Maiden. I didn't mention Iron Maiden before, but like these are my top 5, like Megadeth, Iron Maiden, Tool, Alice in Chains, and Primus. Right. And so it's like I rather listen to Megadeth all day long than any other new band that ever comes out. Right, I'll just listen to my 5 top bands, and I don't care for anything else. I mean, I have a whole bunch of other bands that I like, but I don't need anybody else apart from these 5 bands. But yeah, I'm waiting for this. It's supposed to get released on this week or something. It's supposed to came out and get delivered, so it's probably going to be a week or 2 before it gets delivered to me. But man, to be here 40 years later, listening to, I mean, not 40 years, 87. Yeah. Next year will be 40 years I've been listening to Megadeth. That's like, I'm 53 this year. So yeah, man, 54 next year. So that's 40, yeah, crazy. And like, this is why I get pissed off at people who have no backbones in music anymore, man. They don't stick around and support, talk to people who their audience on social media, right? Are saying bad things about without actually going to the person one-on-one, going, hey, what do you mean by that? But no, it's everybody's about like, my clout on social media. I think that is us for today. Before I waffle on about anything else,
I wanted to kind of put a cap on that. Honestly, this comes about cancel culture. He's worried about getting canceled. Cancel culture has lost its bite, and I would cite Marilyn Manson as an example.
Yeah,
he lost everything, and they dropped the case. Of course, he got a band back. He got a new label, and he got signed to a new label. He got new bandmates. And he called it One Assassination Under God, which is a concept album where he took aim at the people that tried to cancel him.
Yeah,
there's this new thing called cultural reckoning.
Right.
This Youngblood fellow sounds like he has no spine.
Yeah,
and there are people like that even before the whole. But yeah, so. I don't know what the accusations are against him.
Till I actually followed that right from the start, right as soon as it came out. So basically, this girl at an after party said that such and such happened, right? And then she was on drugs, like very hardcore, right? And so there was like, oh, this happened at this event, and other people that were there said, we don't remember any of that happening, and I was there. And so it was like all these things, and it was like that's why they said that they threw it out, because there wasn't much there happening, right?
Right.
I'm just gonna play. What was? Hold on. So, what was the? What's the latest? Is this "Angel with Scabbed Wings" the latest Marilyn Manson song?
No. That's like from like the original. Was it his third album? I think.
Yeah.
The one that kind of made him a star, Antichrist Superstar.
Right. Yeah. Do you know? I want to say I just put up Lunchbox Warren's chat. So he says, I'm not at home, but I would love to come on sometime. Yeah, man. Probably next month, I think we would have some space for you. I've got also going to look at having Dave Brink on as well. So that would be pretty cool. But I just want, before talking about Marilyn Manson, I actually remember the first time I actually saw Marilyn Manson, not live, I mean, like listen to him, and was at a nightclub while I was going to see, what was it? I think I might have gone to see, visit my friends, right? I think I went to visit my friends in another city in Auckland from here, which is about 2.5 hours drive. And so I was staying with them tonight, and I was at a nightclub by myself, just hanging out. And this girl from Germany was there. The tourist from Germany was there. And so we were hanging out, making out and all that later. But like, you know, we're just chilling out. And I was like, that's the first time I heard Tainted Love, because I was on a big screen, man. And so I've always loved that. And the other thing I was going to mention is that way back in about 95, 96, I actually gave a speech about during my theology class at Bible school in front of the students about how Christians sometimes do damage to themselves on how they treat people, right? And so if you look at if you know the history about Marilyn Manson, he went to a religious, a Catholic, I think it was a Catholic or Christian school, and how he was like treated really badly. That's why he has this real anti-Christian belief and talks about it a lot, right? And so I always kind of in a way I always like how you treat people lives with people their whole life, right? So that's why like it's always good to I guess in a sense not to be mindful. Like that's why I said the golden rule is right. How you treat people, the way you treat people or whatever it is. Love thy neighbor as yourself, right? Treat people how you want to be treated.
That's the new stuff he's doing, yeah. But he's got a new record label. He's got he gained it back after losing it and having to battle that for 4 years.
So this is the album there. So I'm going to play a bit of this, and then I'll come back, and then we'll say our goodbyes. Is that cool?
Cool.
Let me get to the second song. There we go. Hopefully we don't get like a strike for playing that.
Yeah. But
all right.
So I have to say that my closing statement is that cancel culture has no power over anybody. All you gotta do is relentlessly promote yourself and network.
Yeah.
I
mean, the only power you give to people is the only people have over you, right? The only power people have over you is what you let them have. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for following us and for hanging out and subscribe, like, and share. We really would appreciate that. From myself and Tim, thank you for joining us. Wherever you are, please have an awesome day, night, evening. We'll catch you on the next one. In 2 days' time, I'll have my artist from Sweden, Iwakim, talking about our isekai fantasy alternative reality parallel universe sword and sorcery comic book called Zealandia, first story arc, Fantastical Romi. And we're going to release that
halfway through the year, issue 1 and 2, fully colored, I should say, comics will be coming out. We've finished issue 1, fully colored now. We've finished all the inks on issue 2. So yeah, looking forward to talking with them, and also looking forward to having you guys see what we've done. Thank you, Tim. Bye for now.
No problem, man. Peace out.
Nope. Can't stay here anymore. I gotta get back. I think this was the spot. Oh Lord, I beseech thee, please return me to my old life. I swear I'll do anything. Like, literally anything. And I won't bother you again, so pretty please bring me back to life.